Little Rock Marathon training is brought to you by Rock City Running and KARK.
Hi, I'm Tom. In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of shoes to your training program. Kind of the foundation of the whole running, walking thing is where you're going to put your feet. My suggestion is that you put them in a place that's really comfortable. So let me tell you a few tips on how to get that done. First, start off by not going to your closet and dragging out the old Keds that you had in high school, or that old pair of Converse high tops that have been hanging around that need to be a planter in your kitchen. Go yourself out to the running store and buy yourself a pair of real, quote, real walking or running shoes. Seek out a specialty running store in your town. They're generally staffed by folks who have been running or walking for quite some time, and will have not only some important tips for you about what to do and what to look for, but also will have a great deal of empathy for your quest in finding just the right shoe. Now, once you've gone and found the spot, go in, and I always tell people the first thing that as a new runner you're going to find out, and by the way, runner, walker equals the same thing. The first thing you're going to find out is you're nervous. You go in and here's all these runner type people walking around the store, and what ends up happening is you get in there and start feeling intimidated before they have the opportunity to help you. Please be a little patient with them. Let them get kind of their thing going on. When they get to you, they'll be really happy to spend as much time with you as you want. Tell them what you're doing, that you're training for a marathon or training for a half marathon, even 10K, 5K, and that you're going to need some shoes for that endeavor. Now, they'll make several suggestions, and please feel free, take them up on bringing out 4, 5, 3, 6 pairs, whatever they have that they're recommending, and try them all on. If you find some that you like, they're going to want to watch you run in them or walk in them. They're probably going to have to put these on, have you go outside on the sidewalk and maybe run 25, 30 yards up and down the street. What they're going to be looking for is things like pronation or supination, which means do your feet turn out or do they turn in as you run. They're going to be looking to see whether you need that support or some mechanical buildup in the shoe to accommodate that, so that you'll be comfortable when you run. As you do that, be sure that you notice what I call the bend in the shoe, where the shoe breaks. The shoe should break under the ball of your foot where it feels natural. It shouldn't be breaking back under your arch or breaking out in front of the ball of your foot under the toes. It should have nice support under the arch, not off-centered, but centered. The support should be right under the arch, not up here, not back here. Now you've got all that going on. Thinking about it, whatever you do, don't take them and say, well, I really like the color of these, or I really like the way they tie. What I really want you to do is make sure they fit. And they need to fit out of the box. They're not going to break in, they're not going to get better, they're not going to get more limber. They're just going to go from, these really don't quite fit, to, man, these are awful. And that's kind of a big mistake when you think about a pair of running shoes is going to be about $100 investment, maybe $110, maybe $90, but $90 to $110 is kind of the general, that's what I'm going to pay deal for a pair of shoes. They're going to last you somewhere between 300 and 500 miles. When you start looking at a training cycle, that's probably going to be enough time, if you're training for the marathon, to get you from I'm starting training until it's time for the race. So once you've bought them, once you've kind of got established in them, you feel pretty good about these shoes, my recommendation is that you go buy a second pair, start them in about halfway through training, alternate the two, and then you'll have a nice pair ready to go. You'll be kind of wearing out the first pair, second pair will be perfect for going ahead for the race. Last tip, well, 2 tips. One, I think it's important that you date your shoes. I personally write the date with a felt tip pen on the side of the heel on both shoes, so I know what day I started, because for me 300 miles is generally about 3 months. So I have a nice visual indicator. At about 3 months, I can check my logs and say, oh yeah, I've got about 300 miles on these shoes, and I can start looking for getting a replacement pair. Last tip, if you go into the running store like I've suggested, you spend the time, they invest a lot of time in you. You're out there doing your thing, trying on all these shoes, running, taking up their time. Please, please be aware. These guys are doing this for a living. Buy your shoes there. Don't ask them for the model and the size and all that and then run home and grab them on the internet. I don't think you're going to save a lot of money just to begin with, and you've taken up their time. Give them the reward of making the sale. The next time, if you want to get your second pair on the internet, more power to you. That's what you ought to do if that's how you like to roll. But first ones, if you've spent the time, stick with them. In our next video, we're going to talk a little bit more on this theme about equipment. We're going to talk about things that you may not have given any thought to when you're running. We're going to talk about cool stuff like Coolmax and socks and shorts and tank tops and all kinds of equipment like flashy blinky lights and water belts and so on and so forth. So tune in for that.